Good morning, and thank you for joining me and my awesome co host Morton. Today is the finale of our season 3 for Take Care podcast, and we have with us Hossein Sharifi. He is the director of Careberry. He is also the managing director of Care and Carers Limited. Hussein, you're doing awesome work with the NHS as well. So, welcome to Take Care podcast, and I'm so looking forward to hearing your story.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for your time. And I look forward to having a conversation with you. Yeah.
Hussein, I'm obviously really interested in hearing more about the Careberry side of things. And I know that you've recently been nominated for an award. Maybe you even won it. We'll hear more about that later on. But to begin with, we always try and ask people, how on earth did you end up in this wonderful sector?
I think Careberry I've been in care for 20 years. And I started from when I was, as a student. I was a student in Springfield Hospital, St. George's Medical School. So I started doing a nursing assistant job. So initially I started doing care as a nursing assistant. And then I was in care, went up to, quite high, commission roles. Then 2011, I just left, to set up my own company. And I was also a student at Oxford. I've been doing evidence-based medicine, and I had a place to do a PhD. So I went to a care company. I was looking, to see how they were working. I'd never done dumb care, but I see, chaos, messiness. And I could see carers were absolutely had no idea what's happening. Care managers were under a lot of stress. Families, a telephone, and I thought, wow, this is huge. What's happening? How they manage? So I just started talking to the carers, to the care managements, and I thought, well, they had different systems. They had papers. And I thought, well, it's a huge mess. Dumb care is a huge mess. So I had the thought we need to have a system where you can bring everything on the one platform. Then I thought, I sat down with a few of my families, because most of my families are developers. Sat down, have a conversation. And I thought, what would we need to do? We need to look into developing a system. Then I thought, well, if I go and develop a system, and I just take it to care companies, nobody would want to say, well, this is one of many systems. So what I did, I actually went to Care Quality Commission, and I registered a company called Care and Carers. So I registered Care and Carers, and I developed the system at the same time. And I launched the system in February 2019, and started caring. Actually, when it happened, it was the time when the COVID just started, and it was a time when actually another friend of mine set up a care company in Hertfordshire. So he gave me a call and said, "Are you going to continue?" I said, "Yeah, of course I'm going to continue. I'm not going to, I am going to continue. It's actually a good opportunity." So it started, and the care company grew hugly by 400% during COVID. So we won the Business of the Year award in that period, and interestingly, no positive cases in the first and the second waves among the clients and the carers. So it was huge. I had emails from commissioners asking, how did you manage to do that? So that was the main reason, seeing the chaos, seeing the issues, seeing the problems. So I thought, but there is a need for, a comprehensive system where you can bring everything on the one platform, from rostering, care management, and to medication management. So it was completely developed. I came here, sat on one of the rooms in this building on my own, developed the system, and got it. So the care company is actually one of the most successful, in this area. And we're opening another branch in May. So the care company became successful, and the system was developed. So we won a number of awards. Digital Innovation of the Year 2001, so it's been a huge journey, which started from thinking, "Oh, the care is absolutely chaotic." Yeah.
And how do you see? I've often wondered, obviously, because I'm not a care provider myself. I don't think I could have made that at all.
Mhm.
But I've often wondered, because I know that obviously there's a couple of good care planning systems out there that are built by providers. What do you
Yeah.
think is what's the competitive advantage, or yeah, really, what's that like to both being the provider and the supplier?
Yeah, I think the provider of care, dumb care especially, is not for the faint-hearted.
No.
Absolutely. There is, every moment you have to be prepared for a crisis.
Mm.
There has been time when on Friday evenings, suddenly you get a call that four people, we've had calls, four carers, like families have been positive for COVID or suspected of. So you have to stop everything. Okay, these rostering all needs to change.
Mm.
So the dumb care is absolutely care. And I'm not surprised, we're hearing so many stories about the quality of care, how bad it is, missed visits. So having that perspective, have that insight is huge. And you want to have that in mind that any moment somebody can go sick, and somebody needs to know, okay, what's going to happen, who is going to replace them, how. It's the insight which would make the things clearer. Yeah, absolutely, you're right. There has been, and at the same time, I think it's not all about technology. It's all about knowing, okay, what are the issues, and how easy, how straightforward you're going to resolve this issue for the care managers, for carers, for families, for the clients. Yeah, the insight is, in my view, is absolutely critical.
Yeah, 100%. And you mentioned about Careberry being focusing on the dom care. Is there any plans of also expanding into care home
Yeah, yeah.
services?
We actually, because we have one of our care companies just started using it as a home care. So we tried it on one of the same way we did it. We started with care and care as a home care. But I don't know if you are familiar. There is a care company called Oxford House, which they've started utilizing it, trialing it. So the plan is to actually extend it to the care home. So yes, we have a plan for that, which is in progress.
What would you say is the very difference between these two subsectors, from a provider perspective as well as from a technology perspective?
I think from provider perspective, the home care, you as a manager or as a provider, you are always, okay, what's happening? Your care is out. You need to have 100% confidence in the quality of the care that the carer is going to provide, because there is no no control. Your control is very limited, no matter how much, when the person is on their own, from quality, safety. But the home care is, at least it's happening in a setting. You may have shortage of staff, but there could be people who can pick up if there is a concern, if there is a safeguarding issue, if there is a problem. So, and rostering in dom care is absolutely different, because, travel is the biggest issue. Getting somebody from A to B is absolutely important, crucial. In home care, in my view, it would be around the quality, how, audit. So it's more office based. You need to rely on the GPS, or you need to rely on mobile signals. So home care is in my view, is far more difficult from technology point of view. I would see that in a care home setting, it would be easier to provide a stable system.
I think you're right in a lot of ways. What we see is definitely that you have that redundancy and organizational layer in a care home setting or in a residential nursing, supported living, even where you can lean on each other, learn from each other,
Yeah.
and have that guidance as you go. Whereas in
Mhm.
home care, most often people are working solo
Yeah,
and uh,
absolutely.
and are probably in much more need of, as you say,
Mhm.
monitoring the route planning, knowing exactly what to do and when. So there's a whole logistical nightmare to delivering those services as well.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh, interesting. So, tell us a little bit more around, your association with NHS and particularly with Topol and how is that progressing?
Yeah, Topol is also because social care is actually never this is the first year somebody from social care has got the fellowship.
Yeah.
It's usually given to specialist consultants previous years. So this year I was encouraged by somebody from Skills for Care. So said you put your application there and which I did. I made the application and the so so what the plan is a quite intensive year of support from them, research, and also publishing or doing a project within 12 months. Um,
Mm-hmm.
my because with technology, if you go to all the people's home, a lot of people use mobile phone. Mobile phone is becoming more accessible now. Using it with Alexa, with voice recognition. So I'm planning to look into the voice recognition and see how these platforms can be adapted. There has been some progress already, but more widely. For example, the link between care management platforms and ambulance services,
Mm-hmm.
because these ambulance services go there. Currently there are lots of papers in the house, though the papers are, in my view, because the carers don't have time, the quality of the information there is absolutely awful. But how we can have a care management system where when the ambulance crew go there, they can actually link through Alexa or Google or whatever there in and just get the latest information from a care company point of view. So I would be looking into the voice recognition and and utilizing the system with with the existing technologies which is already available. Yeah.
That sounds like a fantastic project, Voice, I'm just thinking aloud here, getting the carers to
Yeah.
voice note that gets converted into, care notes. And then when the ambulance service comes, again, voice to voice, narrating the story of the resident.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic project.
Even for example, lots of older people. If you're running a dumb care company, lots of anxiety come from when my carer is there. So it's simply okay. My carer currently with Careberry, we tell clients that the carer is on their way. But what if it is announced by Alexa? What at demand would ask, where is my carer? The carer is just 5 minutes from you. So it's all of that would make the care far more easy. And I think with all of the changes with the AI now, I believe that it will have a huge impact.
Yeah,
On
indeed.
safety.
But
It's
I
completely going to change the world, and I'm hearing that next 3 years is going to be, pivotal for every sector, for every role,
Yeah.
every job, and I feel incredibly, I would say, optimistic and fortunate to be part of, to be present in this time
Mhm.
when such a big
Yeah.
revolution is happening in technology. Sorry, Morten, I
no
just,
no, it's totally okay. I just wanted to say, and it's not because I'm not equally optimistic with regards to AI, and we're also currently testing some stuff about early warnings and making sure that you catch deterioration in the right timing. But I just also wanted to say that sometimes it's also just about the way you design the service. So just like you're saying now, Hossein, you probably already have the data around where people are in their work schedule, travel schedule of the day. We've just not exposed it to clients earlier. So making sure that you take system that you've already got or data that you've already got in your system and making that available to others to create a better service, I think is something we'll have to see more of equally, because the data is there already.
Yeah, I think one of the, because now I have lots of arguments sometimes with the commissioners, and I think is absolutely because of the data, because the data tells me that if I have a client with this like price rate, that postcode with this rate, I will make a loss. So we have the data and we look at it, and I go often to commissioners and say, okay, look, this is not going to work. This is how how much we need to get to be able to run this special package. You can't have because you've got a client in different part of the town or city or county. So it's the data. The data is absolutely, as you mentioned, we've got the data. Is how you're going to look at the data and what you're going to do with the data. And I think that's where the biggest, for care companies need to look at the data they have and make a decision regarding costing, regarding running efficiently, whether they want, and then they won't get, to a point where they would have a cash flow problem. And then they have to end, unfortunately, like the last 2 months, we have had 2 companies going off around this area. So it's all about just managing with the data and being smarter using what you have.
Oh, I can only. I've already started imagining a data cafe session, Morten, with Hossein, with all this data discussion now, and
yeah. Oh, it's thrilling, isn't it? Just imagine what we get served today by using our smartphones or smart TVs or whichever it really is. I have a colleague who knows exactly when the bus is arriving. So he knows when to leave the office to go get the bus instead of standing out in the rain for 10 minutes. So he just checks the app quickly, and then it's probably the same thing that you're just saying.
Yeah.
To help with the anxiety of understanding, knowing when your carer arrives, then you can expose that data to them. It's already in the system. We've just not thought about it in that way before. And there are, of course, a multitude of ways to making sure that we utilize the data that we've got to provide better services.
Absolutely, and it's such a beautiful, example of how data can really help with regards to better care. Maybe that data still exists with us, like it has always been existing, but as you open that data up for using it the right way, you're suddenly seeing an impact on the care delivery as well, because one, in this case, the service user will not be as tensed because they're trying to find out where my carer is, and then when the carer reaches, we'll find the person in a much more calm state, so which is a win-win for both. I'm loving this discussion.
That's right. And even I think with the carers, if you look at the dom care, lots of people leave the field, carers, because of the exhaustion, and the exhaustion come from driving. So you can actually look at the data. What we do, we look at the data. Okay, this journey could be shortened. You can plan, around to do it in an hour rather than the driving. The carer to do an hour driving rather than 2 hour, 3 hours, journeys is absolutely key in actually managing it. It would have impact on the carers also.
Absolutely. I mean, home care is really a margins business. And if you can optimize either with the use of AI, as we've seen already in the sector now, just like I'm sure UPS or some of the big delivery companies do, optimize that route, then you're more inclined to at least having a healthy business as well. But just because I'm so obsessed with the Topol thing, and I think not everybody understands necessarily from the listeners, what is Topol to begin with? And
Topol is a flowship which is on annual, with the NHS, give the fellowship. They go through a process. They go through and like what is selection criteria, and they choose one or two person or more to work on an innovative idea. The idea should be of their own, the person who come, and they are given the access, and they are given support. They've given quite a lot of like technical and from research, from support, and also there are some cash also associated with it, which is they gave them a grant which you can utilize to put that idea into action. It's a very, very interesting project. It's a very interesting idea, and I would encourage people from social care to go for it, because when you go and look at the list, if you look at previous years, all you say, okay, this surgeon from UCL, this surgeon from Cambridge. But I would encourage people from social care, if you've got an idea, just put it there and just go for it. Do a bit of research. Look at the previous fellows. Most of them are consultants from quite pure health background. So with less and with nobody from social care. So it's a very good opportunity from somebody who has got an idea around technology and want to get support from NHS. You would have a huge support from both the program and also from financially, so you get some financial support which you can use to put that into action.
We'll make sure to share the link in the show notes. We already have from your website the news article that describes what you are now entering into the fellowship.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. So congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
And thank you for sharing all the stories, as well as for Topol. I think, Morten, we will make a little bit of noise around Topol, because we have to amplify and get more entrepreneurs apply from social care and be part of the game.
Yeah.
So I think we are running out of time, so I will rush to my last two questions.
Yeah.
It is okay, Hossein. So one of the question is by our previous guest, and they have asked to ask you, how do you think we should be involving CQC, and what should be the role of CQC going forward, so that there is more collaboration in the social care sector, and the pace of change becomes much more, not just much more quicker, but also simpler for people to participate in. What would be your thoughts? Because you come from both, you wear both hats of a service provider as well as a care provider.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I would say I would always say, look at CQC. I think, lots of people in the sector view quite distantly CQC. Look at them as an organization, and I think try to establish a link with the inspector. I have a very good relationship with the inspectors. So email them, if you've got a question, if you've got a good story. Try to, I think, look at them as one of us. I think that would make it, just lots of people would have the view, okay, the CQC would arrive, they would look at with, to find fault with. But actually, if you look at it that way, it could be quite simple. When they arrive, I've had very good experience with CQC inspectors, and it's mainly because of the previous relationship that you try to establish with them, and then I think do not leave them until they turn up, and with completely a different probably category in your mind. I think from a quite a provider point of view, I think providers need to look at, and I think CQC, in my view, is all common sense. They would look into duty of candor. Well, we should, as if you are in care, you need to have it. You need to pick up the phone if there is a problem and just tell, the the clients, okay, this is the problem, this is, the issue, and I'm going to apologize, or this is what we're going to do. And when you look at the CQC, I would always say, I think if you do the common sense, and at the end of the day, CQC, you would do the right thing. I think, the CQC, there has been occasions where CQC be quite distant regarding, when, COVID happened, with the way initially they got it completely wrong, came out and said, well, when the things are settled, we're going, to do this with the hospital, the provider, which wasn't a good. But I think at the inspector's level, if people start, developing a good relationship, things would go quite well. And look at them as somebody who you can ask advice, you can ask for help, you can, can have a relationship with them, a professional relationship.
Yeah, I absolutely like that, because I think that's where there is a bit of learning that has to happen on both sides, that we are in this together. Yeah. And it's all about, having that communication to flow continuously rather than waiting for them to come and check what is happening. Upfront providing that information, and hopefully with our solution we'll be able to do that, Morten and Hossein, within this idea. My last question for you is, what is your prediction for next 12 months with regards to social care and technology as well, and a combination of these two?
I think social care would continue to be a big issue, would continue to continue to be an issue where government would either fail to deal with, or either fail to grasp the dimension of the problem, would continue to be, to struggle with the recruitment, with all of the big issues which is there. However, I think, the journey, to utilize technology would go faster now. I've seen more people with, completely different, mindset coming to social care as a business, more entrepreneurial. Because if you look at, previous care companies, lots of them are set up by families, by previous carers, and they've done well, but they haven't used this, they haven't progressed that much. But now you can see people coming. Look at, what's happening. For example, the people who come in and completely, take over other companies, making it bigger, want to link social care with health, pushing the government, okay, this is, care is as important as health. Why, you're taking money from social care? Why social care is not given the same, importance? So I think, there would be more vocal people in social care, which actually would make the government accountable. And hopefully the move towards utilizing or digitization would go as fast as possible. Yeah.
These are all music to my ears, Hossein. Hopefully, technology gets adopted, and specifically data in leaps and bounds, and, social care, gets freed of the time resource constraints that we have. It has been such a wonderful discussion, and thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story with us. And take care.
Thank you. Thank you for time. It's the same, yeah.
Thank you, Hossein.
Yeah, thank you for the time, yeah.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah, you too, yeah. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, review, and share your favorite Take Care podcast with your friends and colleagues. Until we meet next week, take care.